the latest nation to declare a policy aimed at promoting free movement of people and trade to rival the Shenzhen zone of Europe. Here's President Paul Kagame.
The travel and tourism industry has recovered strongly, but the high cost of air travel to Africa and within Africa remains a barrier. Implementation of the single African air transport market is therefore an important priority. We also removed visa restrictions for citizens of every African country, as well as many other countries.
All right, joining us to discuss further, Mayowa Apaflo, Senior Associate, Financial Derivatives Company Limited. Mayowa, good to see you again. Good morning to you. Good to have you on the show. So let's start with visa restrictions before we go to digital surveillance. What do you make, macro view of this decision from Rwanda?
I think it ties to Rwanda's macro goal, right? They have a goal and they're implementing strategies to achieve this goal. What's their macro goal? Their macro goal is to achieve middle income status by 2035 and high income country status by 2050. And in specific terms, this means that they want to have a GDP per capita of over $4,000 by 2035 and over $12,000 $12,000 by 2050, right? And so they have implemented strategies to achieve these goals. Some of these strategies include implementing a 7-year national strategy for economic transformation, and the aim of this strategy is to promote private sector development, increase competitiveness of the economy, and promote productivity in the economy. And also, Rwanda has been a strong supporter of AfTA, right, over the years. And so these policies that they are putting in place, this one is also in line with the goal, right? It's also in line with the strategy that they are putting in place to achieve their goal. Like you mentioned, it's not the first country to implement this visa-free policy, right? We have Gambia, we have Benin, and we have Seychelles. Also, Kenya has announced that by December 31st, they would also be implementing the visa-free policy for Africans. And so all of this is like a new policy, a new development. Hopefully, we won't see more countries adopt it in the coming term.
Great stuff. Thank you for the breakdown there. So, I mean, as far as wanting to increase GDP per capita, skills have to come into play here, right? Because of what skills contribute to economic output for GDP. For the tech ecosystem for Rwanda, what do you think this means for them?
It's very positive. It's a strong and significant development for the tech ecosystem in Rwanda, right? Just in 2022 rather, Rwanda announced that it was launching the first hub for AI, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and data governance, right? And it's all in a drive for an inclusive fourth industrial revolution across the continent. So that's where they are looking at from the tech angle, right? And even already this year, we've seen a UK AI company, InstaDeep, announce that they'll be launching a company in Rwanda. It's an AI company. So this policy, right, is only helping them to achieve their goal, their tech goal. And then with this policy, we see increased foreign investments. That's what policies like this end up bringing. We see increased access to talent. Rwanda is a small landlocked country. They actually have a shortage of tech or skilled talent, right? And they are very into driving human capital development. And so this policy only helps bring in more skilled workers into the system and also increase innovation. And outside of tech, we see increased tourism, which can also go back to tech, because with increased tourism, you will see more innovative ideas around creating platforms for online bookings and the likes to support the increased tourism that they will see in the coming time. So
when you think about the big tech firms, the Googles, the Microsofts, and so on and so forth, what does stress-free immigration mean for tech talent?
Well, it's very important. It's very, very significant. And two major reasons we look at it. Let's look at the tech space. The tech space, one, tech industry is global, right? Tech companies, especially the big ones, have countries across the world. And they need to be able to get talent to suit their business needs in these locations, one. Two, we have that the tech industry is very competitive. They're very competitive for talent, right? And talents need to be able to immigrate to different countries that they are needed in. And so this policy, there's a need for stress-free immigration talent. And I look at big tech companies, we're looking at Google, we're looking at Microsoft, Amazon. They actually have legal support for immigration for this company. So this stress-free immigration process is very, very important to the tech space and to big tech companies. All
right, we've said a lot of good things here. Thanks for the analysis. But any risks to opening up your borders to letting almost everyone in?
Yes, in everything in life involves risk, really, right? There's always a risk involved. Some of the risk here would have security risk, right? Because you're making a visa-free, means anybody can come in anytime. It can lead to increased terrorism and crime in a country. Rwanda is a low-crime country, so it can actually affect that. And then you also have a public health risk. We had Ebola, we had COVID. They spread because of migration. People moving from place to place. So that risk is there, right? And economic risk. We have that when you have increased skilled talent coming into the country, it can mean less jobs for the locals, right? Low wages for the locals. And then we don't want to have a situation like we're seeing in South Africa, right? And so that is a risk that would also be involved. But with every risk, there are always ways to mitigate this risk, and we hope that the country is paying attention to that and implementing these policies as well. All
right, you mentioned two things that will allow us to seamlessly transition into our other topic here. You mentioned crime, and you mentioned South Africa. I want to talk about digital surveillance here. First of all, the camera there, is it in that church? What was it there for? Is that content creation or for online participation in service or what? We're trying to focus on the digital side of this if we can. What's that camera doing there?
Well, it's both, right? For a lot of, let's go back, COVID-19, thanks to COVID-19, it impacted the world in a very huge way. The religious sector was not left out, right? Due to COVID-19, people had to stream online for services, and that part of it has continued, right? And so it's for live to reach the audience that maybe could not remotely, people that couldn't make it into the church service physically. That's what a lot of churches use the surveillance or the camera footage for, right? And also for content creation, you on social media, they have excerpts from the sermons, praise and worship sessions, which they upload to their social media platform. So it's a bit of both.
Does this tell us that video surveillance, maybe there's a privacy angle to this, but it is essential regardless of whatever activity you're doing, religious or non-religious at this point? Are we in a surveillance period or state of living at this point? We're being surveyed right now by these cameras that are watching us around, people around the world. So what do you think?
Well, yes, there's always someone watching you, camera watching you, right? It's regardless of the situation or the place. You walk into a supermarket, I think we'd say maybe 80 or 90% of supermarkets, especially the large ones, have cameras somewhere to watch. It's for crime detection, prevention, also even for business processes, because you can go back, view the videos, see where you need areas of improvement and where you can implement these improvements. So video surveillance is important or is necessary. It helps in different angles of the society, and it's not just only for business operations. It could also be for religious.
We're out of time. If you're that church, are you moving to full online service going forward, or do they beef up security? What happens next?
We won't run away from the house of God because of criminals now. Right. Believe God will protect us, and then we also beef up security. Faith plus works. Faith
without works is, there you go. Thanks. Some church service on Friday ahead of Sunday from Mayowa Apaflo, Senior Associate at Financial Derivatives Company Limited. Mayowa, always a pleasure having you. Thanks for joining us.